I'll not even do this in chronological order. I'll jump into Will Ospreay and take a shit. I mean, everybody, this is an Uncle Dave specialty, and they do all these moves wonderfully. But again, I guess Milli Vanilli sounds different if you just want to take some fucking drugs and listen to the kids play some music than if you're a experienced musician and record producer that knows that it's not even really them. But let me just, again, there was a couple of things in this Meltzer special. 22 minutes of video game moves that made no sense because it's another dream match in the Owen Hart tournament. They had the match that you would expect they have. They're very athletic fellows. Of course, at the 15-minute mark, they were trading forearms. But there's a couple of spots. Ospreay gives Take a kick and rears back and goes for his shitty elbow finish. But as Take is on his knees, he's so beaten up, he collapses flat of his face on the ground. So what does his opponent do that's still in the middle of a match with him? He stops and stands there and stares at him while a referee gets down and checks on him. Are you okay? Cover the motherfucker. What? I swear to fucking God, he acted like he didn't know what to do when he had kicked his opponent in the head, and his opponent's so fucking fucked up and dizzy and on Dream Street that he can't even stand upright on his knees. You don't think to just cover him? And then the referee starts backing Ospreay up like, oh, I think he's really hurt. Well, then cover him. But instead, then Take a Shit jumps up at 100% and gives Ospreay the Blue Thunder Bomb. So the babyface, besides being an idiot, is also a sucker. You're in a goddamn match with a guy, and a guy fucking falls down in front of you. Brian, how smart do you have to be to just cover him?
You brought this up the other day. I don't even remember exactly what the example was, but it was like, maybe in the Pac match, where it's like, I don't know what to do. My opponent is injured. You pin him.
Yes,
beat him.
Yes.
That's what you do.
Beat him. Beat him. My opponent is helpless at my feet and can't defend himself. What could I do? Beat him. So then, after fucking Take a Shit, I'm back to calling him that all the time now because Jesus Christ. After he suckers the babyface, hits the Blue Thunder Bomb, Ospreay gets back up and starts doing flips, and then they hit each other with some shit and got 1 counts. And then Ospreay hit 2 big moves on Take, and Take stood up and leveled him without selling either one of him. And then they gingerly helped each other climb up to the top rope and balance there while throwing weak little midsection shots so that Take could clothesline Ospreay while they're both standing on the top rope so Ospreay could backflip and land on his feet in the ring. Apparently that means that Take a Shit hits like a goddamn 6-year-old girl, because if you can be clotheslined by this guy and have the wherewithal, I'll just do a backflip and land on my feet, then what the fuck? I don't see at this point how you could ever train these guys to put a match together and break the bad habits that Ospreay has learned from being indie bound all his life, and Take is learning now from being in with all the indie minded goofballs instead of in a good developmental program.
Well, I think that's it. We've learned what the way is. The way is they get signed to WWE and all of a sudden they get in line. They get signed. That's what happens.
They're not I'm afraid you can't break some bad habits, and you can't, when somebody has been indoctrinated with a line of bogus bullshit thinking, see the average Trump supporter, you can't fucking even give them facts and get them back. They've got bad habits that are established, especially Take. Ospreay, they can do all these things athletically, but they have no idea how to put a fucking match together for anybody other than this indie fucking crowd. that Tony is now running off and is dwindling over this shit. But and then finally, Osprey hit his finish, but he covered him, got a 2 count. So the next move, Osprey ran at Take, and Take hit him with a boot and went to suplex him, but Osprey flipped out and they rolled around and Osprey hit him with a Styles Clash and got a 2 count. And then they did more back and forth and Osprey just hit some fucking thing, 1, 2, 3. It's just they act like anything that happened more than 30 seconds ago never happened. The heel barely cheats. Nobody sells anything, and then it's over. They're world-class gymnasts with no wrestling basics. They can backflip from 20 feet in the air, land on their fucking feet. They can't throw a good-looking punch. And they can go all out for an hour with their cardio, but they can't put together 5 minutes worth of psychology to draw you into a contest instead of a car wreck. So I don't know what to say. But I wouldn't trust any of these motherfuckers picking me up and spinning me around and dropping me in the vicinity of my head. And again, I've taken everybody's. I've been tombstoned by The Undertaker and pile driven by Jerry Lawler and figure four'd by Ric Flair and pressed over the heads of Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors. And I was, as I've admitted, awful nervous about and thought it was fucking crazy, the scaffold. But otherwise, I've never felt like I could potentially be bringing my goddamn life to an end or end up a goddamn body cast over doing something.
What about when you work with Baby Doll?
All right, only once. She fucking slapped me and my head spun like Linda Blair's, but yeah, it's just
Osprey's like the next generation, even though, it's not a real generation, but the next generation of Omega and that style of every match is a big match that goes a while. You kick out of everything.
They point to the ropes they're going to run to. They turn their back on their opponent to run to the ropes for no reason with the prancy, fancy dancing.
Yeah. And Omega looks like he could barely walk, or he can't walk without being in pain. So, I mean, it's not.
Or he looks like he's got a corn cob up his ass. One of those things has to be true.
I guess my point is it's not a style. I'm going to be really interested to see how a lot of these guys are in their 50s, just because, every generation you say that about. What's Dynamite Kid going to look like when he was 50? Well, he was in a wheelchair and he lost a leg or something. What's Mick Foley going to look like? Well, he says he has to tell his stories over and over again because he has no memory. What's this group of guys? A lot of them, a lot smaller than Mick Foley, and even Dynamite because of all the stuff he was on. They're a different body frame, some of these guys. What are they going to look like in their 50s?
I don't know, but all I know is that the whole idea of wrestling is to protect yourself, and from a professional standpoint, is to protect yourself and your opponent while giving the people the impression that you're doing everything you can to beat shit out of each other. But they've dropped the protecting themselves and their opponent in favor of, we could do this big stunt and we could do it this way. And it ends up looking phony because it requires so much cooperation. And it's goddamn dangerous because you have variables that can't be controlled. Which way is that table leg going to fucking fly? Is this time that I run into this wall or this barricade or whatever going to be the time that my fucking joint pops out?
I had that thought when they were both on the top rope. I'm like, man, what if this is when one of them slips? I mean, again, we see top rope stuff all the time, but it's a different level of stuff, especially when you're planning on not just like going over and down, but like multiple flips to land on your feet or whatever it is. So much can go wrong. And again, I guess that's his gimmick. He does all these things, but it's not just him. There's a lot of people just do everything they can in their repertoire, so you get to see it every time they come out there. And
I can't understand how, and then we'll move on. I can't understand it because of it's completely opposite of what the goal of this business has always been. And first, make it look good. That's why, guys, I said, lay it in, make it look. If there was an error, you wanted to err on the side of people can't see through this. It doesn't look fake. So yeah, and you could legitimately rationalize, okay, you hard wave me, boom, a little punch to the fucking eye to the cheek, whatever. It's a goddamn black eye. Or getting a little color, it's a fucking cut with a razor blade. Or take this big fucking chair shot to the head because I know how to throw it and you know how to take it. That if everybody's a professional and you do whatever you're doing correctly, somebody you may get hurt. That hurt, but you're not going to be injured. You're not going to be having surgery. You're not going to miss work. And it's going to look real, and it's going to add to the money you're going to make because people are going to buy into this. Now they're doing shit that obviously is phony when people already know everything's phony to begin with, and it looks even faker. That may end up with them being hospitalized or having surgery because they're falling off of something from 20 feet in the air or being dropped on their heads. I don't get that. Yeah, if it's going to help fucking make the business look real, punch me in the face. But I don't care what it helps or what it makes anybody look like. Don't drop me on my head off a fucking ladder from 15 feet. That's just stupid.